Welcome in, and we got some breaking news, Chicago Bear fans. Postman 1914, Mailbox Sports. How we feeling today? We trying to pick up the pieces and strategize exactly what this breaking news means, because I think that it completely helps the Bears reshape the offseason. Welcome in. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We talking DJ Moore and the blockbuster trade the Bears just pulled off today, along with some other things that it implicates as far as that goes, Ken. The Bears traded DJ Moore, as we know, to the Buffalo Bills for a second round pick, also sending a fifth round pick over, I believe it is, in exchange. So if you've been watching over the last couple years, and even for the offseason, DJ's name has been a consistent name to pop up when it comes to the restructure or the reshaping of the cap. But DJ Moore wasn't just a receiver, Ken. Look back at it and we think about DJ full circle in the trade that we get for DJ. It is he is the linchpin for everything that is the success of the Chicago Bears. So, and this is what I mean here. We traded the number one overall pick some years ago in order to acquire DJ along with other picks. And so, if you think about the picks that we have, then turn that into Caleb, Darnell Wright, Tariq Stevenson, so on and so forth. You think about all of the ways in which we have utilized that particular opportunity to flip all of those picks and make them worthwhile. DJ is the full circle moment to that. And today, when you are able to go ahead and accumulate a second round pick in a draft this year, Ken, when we have talked several times about the needs that we have, especially with the sudden retirement of Dahlman. My apologies. Couldn't think of Chris's name out there. And we realized that we have a injury front with the left tackle position, which some people want us to go ahead and draft in that position. I'm not certain if it is what we should be doing, but let me know in the comments, should we be addressing the left tackle position in the draft, or should we be doing so in the free agency? I know a lot of people got somebody that they want to have go on as far as free agency choices. What is it? Tyler Lindenbaum. I don't want to get his name wrong. Lindenbaum. I don't know because I don't really want him. And I say that because I don't want to exhaust draft capital in a way that may exhaust us. But to summarize how we look at it, DJ is gone. And the big question really becomes, what does this mean for the Bears moving forward? This trade isn't just about this receiver. It's cap space. It is roster construction or the direction that it may go, Tony. It is what I would classify as integral to Caleb's development, and the fact that we have to surround him with all of the pieces necessary to get maximum performance. and it signifies to me what Ryan Poles plans on doing in free agency by receiving that second round pick, clearing up a lot of, I think, $15 million in cap space with him. If free agency strikes and one, Tom Thayer gave me the idea. I never thought about anybody internal actually being the person that we would like to have replace the man in the middle. I do realize that the central position and the cap space moving forward is something that I think will immediately be addressed. Because more so than what we did by moving DJs signifies what we didn't do in other areas. We still working on opportunities for that trade on Tremaine Edmonds, because if you get anything for Tremaine Edmonds, that bolsters your coffers just as well. Connor McGovern is another option that we have to look at when we talk about the replenishment of the center position. I do believe that McGovern and Biotis would be guys that are a bit more in play and a bit more feasible to what we got going on. And I also think that if you really look at it, what happens Monday and beyond will give us a critical opportunity to just kind of really, it'll give us the best opportunity to really realize what they will be drafting, or the draft plan in particular, when we get into April. Because I think you get one of those guys to plug up your center position. It allows you the flexibility to allow Newman or whomever else to continue to develop at the guard position. It also gives you the opportunity, I think, to solidify your center position with a guy who may be a year or two older than Dolman. So yeah, Drew was 26 or 27 this year. Those guys are 28 and 29. You can play just as long and just as effectively, if you ask me. Haven't done an extensive breakdown to really understand either player, but I do think those are guys that we look at, because we build in around the franchise quarterback. I believe it signifies that they think we have that guy. I believe it still implicates that we truly believe that there's a chance to continue to do things that we need to do this offseason, Kevin, to bolster the roster now and in the future. T. Miles, my cousin is not pleasing in the least bit. And for me, Jay Tillman, shout out to the Bills and Jay Tillman here, Buffalo Bills fan, y'all. So thank you for the pick. Hope DJ work out well for you. It kind of signifies that we moved a veteran receiver at a time when young guys are emerging. The Jade Walkers of the world get more of an opportunity. Maybe a J.P. Richardson gets off to the practice squad, or we find another guy that they draft later on down the line, perhaps, when it comes to the replenishment, just to get another body in there, as we will lose Oz and DJ. So there will be some sort of addition to the wide receiver room. In what capacity or where, I don't know. Me and Ken might have to have a bet. He thinks third, and I'll even venture to say he thinks third, fourth round is the time when we would address the position. I think that's lunacy. I don't think we would absolutely do that, even with the compensatory pick that we will be getting. So we're going to have 2 second rounds and 2 thirds right now, guys. That's how I'm working in my head. Just know that. But it tells me that the organization, why am I so tongue-tied today? It tells me, simply put, the organization believes that right now is the time that they can go ahead and capitalize on the things that are going on. The offensive identity of the team is being formulated, and it's also being shifted in some ways. I still think there are many moves to be made by Ryan Poles when it comes to tailoring the offense to Caleb and the Ben. And so we think about, could DJ have counterparts that will be moving along with him? Could a DeAndre Swift be the guy that they want to upgrade? Could perhaps there hasn't been any news yet, but perhaps we do get an extra third. Do you pass on? Okay, that's cool. Ken, we in the Discord. We'll exchange a couple things so we can keep it back. Everybody, check my stream out for this right here. Me and Ken just made a $50 bet on us drafting a wide receiver in the third round and above. I'm on the fourth and in. I appreciate exactly. He said it best. We got the bet. Look, that's that virtual handshake for now. It's official. Uh, I do believe we will be able to do some things with that, but that comp pick, man, if we able to get that third pick or that third round pick, I should say, Tony, it just further epitomizes what I think, in that the Bears will, one, be in a position to pick, and this is the time where I wouldn't necessarily be upset that you packaged to move up to grab whatever defensive tackle or end that you wanted in the draft, and also you still would, in my mind, still have either both seconds or what's the other word I'm looking for? Or both thirds. So I think that in that we're preparing to build a roster in three ways, or around three things, I should say, Robbie. Caleb Williams, the offensive line, because I think we have a panic, but I don't think that they are. I think they have a plan for it. And the defensive front. Now, I think the defensive front comes before the line, but I do think that the line comes first, in that they will address it in the offseason. Or should I say the first portion of the offseason being legal tampering, because I do believe that the tackle, and pardon me for not doing any homework on any tackles available, but I believe that if it is not totally solidified in-house, the tackle position will be something that is not as heavily addressed as many think, but the center position will be addressed in a way that will not reach a Lindenbaum level, but a McGovern or Biotish I can easily see being here. And yes, Robbie, trade up to get a Peter Woods. Trade up for, what is it? I don't know all of the guys above 25, because while I know them when I don't think we had a chance to get them, but now I got to go back and see the Mezzadors or whomever else they may be available just to find out. Here we may be able to trade up for, dare I say, the Combine Wizard in Sunny Styles. Don't give me the, I ain't a trade up guy all the time, but the way in which things are falling into place, not to mention, if you are able to get a pick for Tremaine, and I believe Ken brought up Tyson Bagent already, you get, Caleb Proctor, is that a South Dakota State guy? Chelsea, how we feeling today? Mike, yeah, Max shot up the boards. You can get Max if you believe that that's the way you going, and my boy's not coming back. Like, seriously, not coming back this year, but not coming back. Because if they have faith in their rehab, it'll tell me how aggressively they're going to attack the left tackle, whether it be competition for Ozzie or your all-out replacement, and have Ozzie be the swing tackle. Because I can see a world in which Ozzie becomes your swing tackle now because of injury, and they just go all out and replace him with a natural position left tackle, perhaps. That stands to happen. If those are things that appeal to you or you think could happen, go ahead and hit the like button. Also, we will get to have some more general manager and legal tampering streams. So Sunday we will have another general manager stream. Hopefully the models that I use to generate those things will have updated and given us the new cap space with DJ and such already gone. If not, we will try to find the best way to maneuver around those things. But that is the anticipation that we could do one more live interactive mock GM as we head into legal tampering to find out how it really all shakes out. So, like I said, hit that like button, and it doesn't just affect the wide receiver room; it affects the whole operation in itself, Chelsea. And this, I believe, is, like I said, the first move of a much bigger offensive plan and an off-season plan in totality, because I don't think it just limits itself to the offense. I think that it might be primarily focused on defensive replenishment or retooling, and replenishment on the inverse when I talk about the offense. So, what do we think this forecast for free agency? Once Edmonds is gone, and yeah. Now, think about that right there. The cap hit we take with Edmonds being traded versus him being cut. Either way, we still get the cap space. And that right there in itself, 41 mil. So you got that 41 mil. That's why I think you go out there Biotis or McGovern, because it allows you to pay, I think, I would say under 13. Let's just be fair. I think you replace at max, you take Dahlman's money and you able to give it to one of those guys, but I don't think that you quite possibly give it to them. I think they get a little less because they may not be to the equivalent of Dahlman necessarily, just because, one, Biotis was on the free agency market a year ago, or 2 years ago, I should say, when they were rookies. Who knows if he would have been the first guy, nonetheless, coming into a new situation and being removed from another team. I think, like Ken, if you get anything, you lucky. But I do think that we have an opportunity to get something and let you go ahead and pick up another, let's say, a 6th-round pick. I'd take a 6th-round pick for Edmonds because, one, they shedding cap space, and we clearing cap space, and we accumulating the pick. Whatever it is, he will be off the roster. So it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to happen because we open up space, we gain draft capital, we know something else big is coming down the pipeline. And by that, I mean, could Bajan be gone? If Bajan is gone, is that another 3rd-round pick? Another 2nd-round pick, perhaps? It's conditional. It gives you the opportunities to navigate and move up and down the board. Like right now, we got 57 and 60. Imagine 57 and 60, where we can package both of those and possibly move into the 1st round again if we would like to, and get the tackle on defense, and you get the defense, the edge rusher if you want in the 1st round. Now, in the 3rd round, you can go ahead and do exactly what it is that Ken would like, and go ahead and focus on that tackle, or perhaps move back up into the 2nd round because you got an extra pick by picking up anything for this guy. What do you call it? Edmonds. It gives you so much. Yeah. If you get anything is good, because you're going to eat the salary cap anyway on him, and he was pretty much already the guy that they kind of looked at as being gone. So we take the gravy to that right there, and we realize that we can move on. We don't have to do anything over the top. And I think that, like, let's say they do draft another tackle, you still go get a stopgap off the scrap heap. Maybe I don't know what the Lions guy, if he's been solidified yet, but he has the opportunity to go ahead and still get somebody in the 2nd tier of free agency, 1st wave, whatever, as far as the left tackle goes to me, because I do believe that Ben has a plan or a thought process to how that will go, and I think that the center was a bit more of something they need to have all the way solidified, because Ben goes big heavy with 6 linemen at times anyway and 2 tight ends, so the center is usually not helped in that. He has to be the guy that is able to move along without a hitch, I should say. So let's do it that way. And it's obvious, the obvious reasons that we made the trade. Age versus the timeline. Our timeline in the future, as far as the Luthers, the Calebs, the Romes, the Colstons, DJ don't fit up with that timeline as far as his age goes. He in his prime years. So like I said, almost 30 years old, and we got a second round pick for him. I think that's what's up, and I'm okay with things like that. And yes, Ken, you get to look at things like that. Other teams will be cutting their players and hoping to latch on to somebody else. You take what is a serviceable guy, and you go ahead and get a 1-year rental until your guy is developed or rehabbed, whichever the route is they want to take. I'm with either one of them. Kind of trading DJ kind of has all of the young guys aligned in a way that they kind of stagger each other almost to get deals done. And at the end of the day, I don't think that all of them will be here because they all get paid somewhere around the same time, but you get to enjoy their services for 3 to 4 years the same way you are with DJ, and you hope that you are able to replenish the pipeline. And how do you do so? The accumulation of more picks, more picks, more picks. That $24 million cap hit that DJ was 25, I believe, that he was going to hit. The fact that we shave a tremendous amount of that off opens up flexibility for us, and we need that because we got key areas to get out. And you have to trim the fat in some places, but when you let go of good players and you don't have their replacements in hand, that's the problem. I think that in essence, the linebackers that they will select in the draft will help them to get faster and a bit cheaper, and you got to get cost-effective and young talent for the majority of your roster for real. And when you don't win. And also, if you don't, you just overpay, and you have the 5th overall ranked payroll, but the 31st ranked defense. So, Tremaine is a casualty that has to happen. DJ, based on some things not possibly panning out, and the fact that, like we say, it's other guys that got to get paid. Casualty of the cap, but it does understand that Ben still has a heavy tight end usage, a lot of motion, run game, play action type things. So those things still going to happen, and you still have ample weapons to do so. You still got a Dunze, healthy this year, no less, hopefully. You have Luther Burden that will be year 2 instead of just year 1, getting acclimated in the second half of the season, along with a Colston Loveland, who I think will give you way more than people would like to see from a tight end in terms of keeping your hands full for his second year. Cole will be an integral part in that, and I think year 2 in the offense in itself can be phenomenal, but I do think that the most important parts of that is making sure that line is solidified all the way across. You won't be losing Bayard more than likely, and Stevenson still on the contract unless they cut him. I don't know what you lose. I don't know where you lose him at. So for me. So Dahlman retired. You go ahead and replace Dahlman, and we talked about the options for him being replaced with. Your receiving core has not dropped off where you said that when your secondary has to be addressed. You're gonna sign somebody, you're gonna draft somebody. You got draft capital to go ahead and replenish that. It's all about how you draft, T Miles, because if you draft good players, then they replace the good players you got. But Bajent is another good player. But if they trade Bajent for another pick, I'm okay with that because it is building the foundation of their team now and moving forward. And we might not need anybody to be high priced right now in order to actualize the things we want to actualize as far as what how it goes. And what I mean by that is the impact that has on Caleb. Losing DJ could sound like a setback, obviously. But losing a weapon, obviously we saw in last season when Rome was down, it simplified things for him in that DJ did become number one because he didn't have too many mouths to feed, I guess, if you want to call it that. And it made, the realization of it this year with a Rome, a Luther, Colston, and a dynamic run game, those types of things going to be okay. T. Miles, you were already expected, first, you were expected to prune like at least 25% of your roster at minimum to start. That's just how it was going to go as far as evaluation of players, who you want, who you need, so on and so forth. Two, people like CJ GJ, unless you get a mega deal somewhere, still an inexpensive option to be on your team. Terrell Smith is returning this year. Zay Frazier is returning this year. We've got players that still have opportunities to vastly show you that they're ready to perform and do things that's necessary, and it won't be anything that they lack for when I tell you about that. So, trust me, I think we're gonna be just fine when we talk about the way in which we lose players and the way in which we can go about gaining, because I think that Ben and this staff are exceptional, no less, at being able to identify players that they want as far as the draft goes. And so to be able to have those guys on your team, you think about offenses like Detroit, San Francisco, Baltimore, they've been able to cycle people in and out. We are not getting rid of the biggest key components. We are getting rid of significant names. I won't disagree with you, but I think those things are not insurmountable in a way that it allows Caleb to distribute the ball a bit more naturally. We already know that he kind of favors Rome. It allows you not to have controversy throughout the locker room as far as if you like DJ, because I don't believe that was ever a problem. Also, I believe the ball movement, the spacing, those guys are younger, a little speedier, and I think they fit into what Ben wants, mainly because most of them are the guys he selected. The other ones are younger guys that he will give a chance before he replaces them if a Rome or so on and so forth don't meet his total need. But you have to be able to capitalize on a guy like DJ this year, because next year you don't get the same capital, if any, for DJ. I think his deal is maybe, is it expiring next year or in 2? Either way, his capital goes down next year, and if you want to be able to revitalize and restock your team the best way, you want to be able to do it with rather high draft picks. And to be able to get a second-round draft pick for DJ, when people told us all day today about fifth-round comps for, Amari Coopers and the other people of the world, I think it was damn good to go ahead and get that second. And I mean, personally, I don't know of a better situation that you could have got when it comes to actually trading a player away. And if they trade Tyson Bagent, we talked about it in my last stream. Got a couple guys that are late round undrafted free agent type quarterbacks that I believe Ryan Poles and the staff is actually pretty proficient at getting. Like Tyson Bagent. Did anybody think anything of him when we drafted him? That'll be a late round developmental quarterback, or undrafted free agent type. And Case Keenum is seriously, whether you like it or not, that'll be your backup, and the other guy will be your Padawan, and he will teach him up because he's gonna be the quarterback coach in the locker room. They won't put much stock into that, and I'm being serious when I say it. Your quarterback is proven to be durable. Yes, they will address the position when they get rid of him, but they absolutely won't get no Kyler Murray, and he absolutely won't be near us. They'll be drafting the eventual replacement. Check out the last stream I did, and forgive me for not having the names offhand But we did mention quarterback options in the fact that we considered Tyson Bagent being moved. Because when we talk about that, we talk about draft implications. If we get a second round pick, which we did, you can find starting guards, defensive tackles, centers, starting edge rushers, receivers, you name it. You can find every position you want damn near in the second round already. Undrafted quarterback is my third, seventh round pick, something like that. I want nothing in the league whatsoever. I want something new. I want something malleable. I want something that Ben has his eyes on in terms of development, because it'll be his project, just like everything else on the team is offensively. And if Ben were to sign something on the offense free agent market, whether I'd like it or not, I wouldn't. I would trust it. I don't believe that's how he ride. So these are the areas. We got several areas that we got needs in, starters and depth. And yeah, he gonna start in Minnesota, the Jets, somewhere where they got people who haven't been able to put it together. That'll happen. And we're gonna have I think this is a trench focused draft, to say the least. Guard is a position that we will attempt to look into. I don't know exactly what Luke Newman will be projected to be in the future as far as position or the level of performance, I should say. So I don't know if he'll be a starter. I don't know if he'll be a good backup. But Joe Thuney will at some point be older. The pipelines for a late round mauler of a guard to be able to learn is a guy that I think they focus on in the draft. And those types of things are things you can forecast. And you can throw as many darts as you want second through the mid rounds, third, fourth, and fifth, when you got those types of things. And I think that the ways in which the accumulation of draft picks, now that we don't have a fifth, we have to go out and re-accumulate in some ways, I believe, because that's how Ryan goes about these things. So being able to come over to the fifth or sixth for Tremaine is huge. And I think it gives us further ammo to look at the draft board in ways that I've already addressed in the last stream. And I suggest I'm going to keep plugging. Go ahead and check it out, just so that you get an idea of what I was thinking about and things that might still be able to take place, because we don't have several more. Once free agency and legal tampering kicks off this week, we will immediately move into a hyper-focused mock draft scenario almost every month. We're gonna dedicate 2 weeks to free agency in terms of the wave, first, second, and then we write in some mocks all day. Submit your best mocks drafts when you're in the Discord. Matter of fact, I think the Discord should have popped up already, but those are things that really matter. And I think free agency matters a lot. We did just free up cap space. So these are the areas I think jump out most when we talk about this cap space. Because while I do think we address the trenches heavily in the draft, I told you initially that the first two positions I think we need to focus on and will focus on prior to true free agency, meaning legal tampering, they will be in the building and addressed. The possibility of signing the left tackle. Elite tackles cost about $18 to $25 million a year. I don't know that we can find the elite. I do think we can find the next tier. So, you may find a guy in the $12 to $15 million range that's going to be, like we talked about with the Browns. Somebody is released because they're going in a different direction. They want to upgrade. So we'll get a savvy vet, like a Braxton, but bigger. We're going to target, experienced pass blockers more than likely. A short-term bridge. And I think that's what it'll be, because I don't have any reservation right now on believing Ozzie will be back and able to play at full strength. But I could be proven totally wrong when it comes to the draft, because Ken and persons like him have been very adamant that we should go ahead and target a left tackle very early. I mean, very very well could happen. But right now, I think we go with a veteran blindside protector, and I think that's something that we does. I mean, that's something we does. That's something we do simply because everybody else, the likelihood of them actually being ready to play immediately, and we've seen this with Ozzy, is not guaranteed, especially the way in which Ben wants him to go. All right, Tony, man, you have a nice one. Appreciate you pulling up. Enjoy work, man. Or your engagement, I should say. But you get to think about things like that, and it makes you kind of understand that they have an opportunity to address it now as opposed to in the draft, because we got so many things on the defense that we can address, like Ken said with McDonald and so on and so forth. It'll give us the opportunity to do things like that. A defensive line upgrade. I am in the camp, the train of thought of signing a guy. It could be a 1-year mercenary. It could be a guy who has a bit of a shelf life. See an Owe Adafi Owe, I believe is his name. My apologies. If you want a mercenary reunion with a Khalil Mack, I think you got about $11 to $13 million annually, maybe 14, I say, to sign an edge rusher. And who knows? You take Tremaine's money, which is about 15.7, and you give that to the new guy that we get. And some people want Caleb McDonald, some people want Caleb Banks. I want us to get quality players, and I know that they are capable of doing so. And you just like my cousin T, man. This is one of the days you should be in the Discord, so you should hop in the Discord so you can go ahead and get your true frustrations out. And what y'all think? We need to be able to have a fan frustration day when you just not a quick bitch, but something like it. We're gonna steal. Nonetheless, adding the defensive lineman on the edge, or the defensive tackle from Denver. Not too keen on the defensive tackle. I prefer an edge, but being able to add an edge, free agent wise, and able to load up on one, get a premium one in the draft, and another project, a third round Zane Durant, something like that. David Moore, some of the first round elite type guys, Gabe Jackas. So many activities. You got the edge depth and rotational pass rushers. Some guys that we may be able to get that can rush the passer and play the run a bit, if not better than just a bit. Those guys with the current defense, a big defensive line signing instantly makes us a bit more top tier. And I don't want to spend draft picks, so this is why I'm suggesting that the cap space that we have cleared up so far, and I anticipate more. I think that those types of things. Kid, I bet. Those types of things right there, along with a fourth or whatever round they get them for me, Ken. Those are the opportunities to make us a top tier defense. It gives you, like I said, the ammo to trade up if you want to get a Sonny Styles to replace, say, Tremaine Edmonds in your lineup. Or you can do something a bit more, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? I want to be careful with the choice of word I put here. But maybe a bit, I don't want to say cost efficient, but maybe a more effective use of money by being able to spread it out a bit. So, just in that way. And I also, obviously for me, the top opportunity, which I put it 3, but I put it 3rd because I think it deserves the most understanding. The center has to be the first thing that we replace in free agency. Think back and harken back to last year. Although we traded for Tooney and Jackson, the first move we made in free agency was signing our center. That person set your protections. They may call out plays and pass pros for everybody. They stabilize the offensive line. They help your young QB. As you heard from Caleb last year, Hulk went out and smashed in a variety of ways. He needs a new Hulk. I cannot stress that as much as I understand people want Tyler Linderbaum, the money does not match up to be able to get that guy right there. So, Darman was the smallest guy on our line, T Miles. I like him, but Trapillo, along with my guy Joe Tune and a little bit of a splash of Theo Benedette, they was doing some of that work too. But yes, they were. That's why it's important you go out there and get you one to replace him immediately. And these guys, you got their money back. It's like you got refunds on these guys, T Miles. That's what I want you to realize. Everybody except Ozzy, you basically got a refund of their money. So you can go use it on something that's comparable to them. And in some ways, you may be able to find something better in one area and, slightly less on the other. Because you still have the opportunity to draft the successor if we don't think that Ozzy is coming back. Or if we don't think that the center that we sign is the long-term solution. So he only get a 2-year deal. Well, now we got a second-round pick or another draft capital to draft the center that we want for the future. And so I think it gives us the Luther Vandross effect right now, the here and now. It gives both of us right. It gives us both of those opportunities to be meshed and intertwined in a way that doesn't cost us, but it gives us ultimate flexibility to be able to pounce on the things we need to right now and still accumulate all of the ammunition needed to go ahead and do what needed to be done. Because like right here, it says centers in free agency typically cost you about 10 to 14 mil. Drew Dalman, why do I keep calling him Chris? Drew gave you 14 mil. So if you can get Biotish, which you would, or McGovern underneath that 14 mil, which I believe, you save $2 million. You get what you got to get. Get dirty on them ribs, Ken, as we wrap it up. No problem. I appreciate you pulling up, man. We're going to get to it. That kind of investment can dramatically improve our offensive consistency. And I think that the continuity is what worries me way more than the replacement. Poles does have his work cut out for him, but ask yourself, are you as worried this time as you were this time 2 years ago now that you got Ben Johnson in the fold? Because Ben is going to tell you exactly what type of guy he wants. Ben has already given him a list. And think about it. They already had Biotish in for a visit. The fact that you already had Biotish in for a visit tells you that one is due diligence, but it's somebody that Ben sees as a potential remedy for the situation that they're in. So, if you really look at it, I think the big picture, when you step back, it tells us a lot about their philosophy. They're not just chasing, splashy names and weapons that go along with these types of things. You could go get Bradley Chubb on a 1-year prove-it deal. And that is the type of immediate upgrade I think you get by having Bradley here already and still being able to draft a Gabe Jackas or somebody in that framework, later on. Team out, I can't do nothing for your worries, man. I appreciate. Hey, it's nice to know that somebody still have them. My worry meter is on about. I give it a 2. I give it a 3 just to say I got a meter. We'll say 3 just because it's my favorite number. But my worry, he just gave you another thing right there. And I do believe that when you have injury and such like that, certain people, when you don't get the money you seek it on free agency, Kevin, obviously sometimes when you don't get that big money deal that you want, then sometimes you do go out there and get 1-year prove-it deals because you don't want to take a lesser deal. You go out there and you have a phenomenal year like a Trey Hendrickson had the 17.5 back-to-backs, and I'm locked into a deal. So I do think that a lot of guys, if you don't get the money that you want for real, I think a lot of guys in the free agent market are way more apt to take 1-year prove-it deals because in the next market, like you said, is such a premium position that now the next year I can try to get more. See a Clowney, what's the guy we signed a year too late? And you know the Robert, I can't think of all the guys the Bears that had. He got our record, sack record too. But we tried a lot of guys. There's a lot of guns for hire out here that people go out there and try to get 1 year deals on. Here, a young guy, he might go get that 1 year deal just to prove that he is still a splashy name. He might see the opportunity to go ahead and win, which is something he didn't have in the last 2 stops that he was in. And winning is infectious when you've not done it, especially when you got the opportunity to go somewhere, prove you can do it, get you a ring perhaps in that year, and then get that Super Bowl money the next year like Super Bowl winners typically get. These moves signify much more about being able to build an infrastructure for the team. You don't sacrifice your picks. You pay a little bit of money up front. You have created most of that money, and Tremaine will give you a bit more of that money. So, not to mention, you may still do a couple more pruning things in the coming days. Stay tuned for any breaking news about those types of things as well. But we understand that the quarterback's development is most important. And so, T. Miles, Caleb don't have to be Superman 4 quarters. He got to be better than he was in the first 3 this year. I would expect that in your second year of development under a coach in a new system. Can we give him credit for that and act like he won't be the same player next year that he's gonna be this year? And that goes to the whole offense because it's not just him. But you need a center in your left tackle, and he's gonna be able to get that done. And your defense will actually be drafted and curated to Ben's likings, not just inheriting the team, where he gets to have say-so along with resources to go out and get all the players that he actually needs to have. Like he said, he's never been a part of a team that had a good defense for real. So imagine if you don't have to go get all those turnovers, if you are a 3-and-out team, go out there and be a sound defensive team that tackles, doesn't give up big plays on third down, gets off the field. You don't need all those turnovers or takeaways. You still can get your fair share, but get pressure on the quarterback. Sack the quarterback. Get up the field on third down. You're a better defense instantly right there. You don't need your quarterback to be Superman at that point. So, I'll agree. Everything that happened last year cannot happen again. More than likely, none of the things you mentioned will happen again. Like, my quarterback got better from year 1 to year 2. No reason why I wouldn't think he wouldn't get better in year 3. The league seems to think that, despite your reservation about it. But being able to go ahead and get a real offensive line strength like we had last year, it's going to take immediate focus immediately at 12 o'clock on Monday. Defensive front dominance, like you said, yeah, they're going to play real defense this year, T. Miles. Real defense. None of that old, yeah, I'm not out here waiting for, man, you need 2 turnovers to win. You have to be a sound damn unit. And that starts with your front dominance. You got to pick better players this year. And DA, this is the year I think they focused the most on the defense as far as resources go. If you don't go out and do the things that are necessary to prove you in fact deserve to remain the DC, DA could really be out. And it could be a godsend that a person like Al Harris was not poached from the staff already. If in fact Dennis does not do what Dennis needs to do with these players. So I'm going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt because not only did they meet expectations for most people, they exceeded expectations for all people. And I mean damn near every player on the team with the exception of the defense. So I would have no reason to believe anything else right now. as much as we don't like it as fans because we get attached to the name on the back instead of the logo on the front at times, this is how contenders build rosters. Getting rid of talent is never the problem. The problem is always going to be, and I'll give you the example, T. Miles. The Rams got rid of Cooper Kupp. And I think Cooper Kupp was a damn good player. Damn good. But to be fair, and I know they got him before they got rid of him. See Luther Burton for details. They drafted another player to replace him. See, the Chiefs didn't do that. But the Bears have already drafted a player that you know can play the position at some point, because it's not year 8 for him. This is year 2 for Luther Burton. You know he can play the position. You know he's going to get better. And Rome gets the opportunity to be healthy in the alpha dog this year. So what does the DJ Moore trade really mean, just to wrap it up before I get out of here? Because everybody, when we get back here, we're going to be a new man. Let's talk about it. That's right. Hey, Kupp got a ring, but Kupp got cut, and they replaced the talent. While we trying to totally get off subject. You said you don't get rid of good talent. You don't get rid of good players. Well, the Rams did that, and they didn't have a good defense, and that cost them. But simply put, T. Miles, Kevin, everybody else, the Bears are transitioning. Success last year breeds the desire to continue it, the need to be able to repeat and fulfill expectation, because last year was a surprise. This year will not be. You will be expected to do things. Thus, pruning had to take place. Will that pruning be prudent, and will it be necessary in terms of the ways we need it to be in that turnover of the roster? We retooling more than rebuilding, and that is something that I like, because I believe in retooling. We are seeking roster optimization. When we live life, we want to live it with optimal level wellness. And as a former therapist, that means on all 5 functional domains, do you want to get the most out of your life? On a roster, we want to optimize all facets of the particular roster that we have, the cap space that we have, the coaching staff that we have, the target in front of us that we have. And it's always widely known that everybody won't be along for the ride once you get to the destination. But at this point, you have a quarterback. We've never been able to say that. They're building a foundation around him now. That foundation is young, thriving, improving to give us everything we thought of them and more thus far, and I don't think they will cease to do so. And if Ryan is able to use this cap space correctly, if the scouts, if the coaching staff, and if the general manager are able to navigate Monday through the next 10 to 14 days of free agency in a way that says that they understand totally what the roster needs and what they can infuse out there, they can also go ahead after that and focus laser, because now when you do miss a guy like a Brisker, you can use a 2nd round pick to draft a safety replacement if you want to, where you got a Brisker. And you can go get one that is just as apt to get going, because I will miss a guy like Kwani, who did everything he could to get back, did everything that was asked of him to stay healthy, played with the Guardian cap on, and, dare I say, have played one of the better games in our last game of the season. But make no mistake, the DJ Moore trade in full circle could be remembered as the trade that completely made the roster as effective as it could be, not weaken it. And I think sometimes we believe that you cannot have addition by subtraction, but if you were not going to replace anybody at all, I would totally understand us thinking about getting rid of players. But if you have any confidence, and you have to have confidence that those players can be replaced the right way, then I think that understands that the most important offensive or off-season moves, they really ain't about who you get rid of or add. It's about the flexibility that you create in being able to do so on either side. And right now, the Bears just created all of that. I got nothing else for you guys today. I do have an appointment that we have to get to. Tune in Sunday as we get into our last general manager special. Tune in Monday as we lock all the way in on legal tampering. Sometime early morning, not too early, but before the afternoon, I would assume we'll get back to you and keep all those posted. If you just came in or you've been here for a while and forgot, hit that like button on your way out. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and go ahead and share the content with other people. I would hope to have more breaking news and better news for those who don't think this news right here is a good sign for the Bears moving forward. But with that being said, until next time and until next delivery, I am Postman 1914. This is Mailbox Sports. DJ Moore, no longer a member of the Chicago Bears, but Bear fans, fear not and bear down. We'll talk to you later on. We are gone.